Hello and welcome to the Film Ireland podcast. I'm Gemma Creagh, and in this episode we'll be looking ahead to the Bleeding Pig Festival. So I'm here with filmmakers Mia Mullarky and Laura O'Shea, as well as the festival film programmer Emma Fagan. Mia's film Mother and Baby and Laura's film Hold the Line will both be screening at the festival. Okay, so Mia, your powerful documentary looks at the Mother and Baby home in Tuam. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm from Galway and I grew up in Annadown, which is really close to Tuam. So the story is close to my heart, I suppose. And also I met my older brother for the first time at Christmas. So he's in his 40s. So my mom had to give him up. So I guess the story resonated on a number of levels. And so I followed 3 survivors from the home and sort of kind of witnessed them as they formed a family with all of the survivors. So they were sort of making the family that they were denied in their childhood.
It's a powerful film to watch. It's amazing, the access. You saying this now makes a lot of sense, because I just watching that, I was like, it's so hard to get people, especially Irish people, I think, to open up in some instances. But you really get this level of emotional honesty from them right there. And it is heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah. I mean, they have this eagerness to talk, because I suppose they've had to keep it a secret for so long. And then thanks to the amazing research of Catherine Corliss, it became a global story. And so if you meet any of them from whichever mother and baby home around the country, they're quite eager to sort of share their story. Yeah. It's a kind of validation, I suppose, and maybe a catharsis for them. So it wasn't like I had to do a whole lot to get those stories out. They were sort of really generous with kind of sharing their hearts with me. So that was amazing.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. What you do as well that I thought was really amazing, you managed to convey the visceral sensations of the mother and baby home. So like sometimes you feel like you're trapped in there. You use
those long like tracking shots and stuff as well. Giving me spooky vibes, you know.
Totally. Well, the home itself is gone. It was demolished in the 70s, and then they sort of hid the records of the burial site. So Galway County Council have maps with the word burial site, sewage tank, and that was all sort of hidden, and then Catherine Corliss found them. So that's how they were able to confirm, because there'd been sightings of skeletons as well. But yeah, so I felt when I was making the film that it was important to bring people back in time a little bit and just give you an experiential kind of insight into what it must have been like for the children. So we, I probably shouldn't say this, we broke into the asylum in Ballinasloe.
Nice.
Because it's from the same era, it's the same kind of architecture, and a lot of the mothers would have been sent there if they were disobedient in the mother and baby home. Is that just boarded
up? Like it's just
it's completely boarded,
right, okay.
So we found a window. And it looks so beautiful. And I mean, it's such a shame the building is going to waste, because it's an amazing structure and it could be totally used for the arts. So we had a lot of fun filming in there, and I knew that architecturally it would match and it would resonate with the survivors. And I asked them and they said, yeah, it did look like that. Now they don't really have memories. A lot of them would have been very young. But Pat does have memories of the home. So he was able to kind of have more visual descriptions and things like that. So, yeah.
And so how did that come about? How did you start working on that project? And I just want to say as well, like from what you packed into it, you could nearly describing it nearly feels like a feature. Like there's elements of that kind of visual thing. You've narrative, a kind of fully formed narrative that has a beginning, a middle and an end, and it really ends with a lot of healing and positivity and change, which is amazing. But how did you sort of start on this project?
Yeah, so my mum actually was friends with Catherine Corliss, and she wanted to do an art project for the survivors. So she made hundreds of pairs of tiny porcelain shoes. So each pair would represent a child that was buried there. And there was an exhibition, and a lot of the survivors took a pair of shoes home. So that was kind of how I got to know Catherine Corliss. And of course, as soon as I met her, I was blown away, because she's just the most determined person you've ever met. I mean, when she tried to break the story at the start, none of the Irish media outlets wanted to know about it. I mean, even the local Tuam Herald was kind of like just barely biting. And then I think it was someone, Alison O'Reilly in the Daily Mail, was like, oh my God, that's a huge story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was that was the starting point, was my mum's art exhibition. And then when I started meeting survivors, I was like, hey, those are my mum's shoes on your wall. So I realized that she had been sort of like getting through to them and touching them, and they all loved these shoes. And I think they just love people coming into their lives to help share the story and help bring justice in any way possible. And I mean, the battle is still ongoing. You know, there hasn't been the church haven't come forward. The investigation is still happening.
Well, they're not the ones that have any reason to be keeping their mouths shut. You know what I mean? So that's why they're happy to be spreading it out there, because they have nothing to hide.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like other people involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
So anyone that kind of pushes that forward, they're always really thankful. So yeah, that was how I got into it.
And that's amazing. And as you were going along, your research there, did you find out loads of things? Because some of the little facts that you had, like one, I don't know, it's not a huge plot point, but there was one bit where there was a girl who had died, and then she wasn't kind of registered as being dead for months later. So they would have connected money from the state on her behalf. And it really shows the culpability and the massive excess. Like
that shocked me.
Really,
you wonder how many instances of that there is.
Underhandedness of that.
If you look through the records, it sort of looks like a business. It's a business model, and the children are the products. You sort of get in as many as you can, and you either sell them to the states illegally or you fudge the records. And either way, you're going to get paid by the state, and then you can get paid by the foster family. So the whole thing was run like a business. And we actually went to New York and Boston for a few screenings, and we brought Peter from the film The Survivor, and a lot of survivors in America came forward to meet us and thank us for the film. And it was really powerful hearing it from their point of view. And some of the survivors in America hadn't actually told their families yet. But they reiterated this kind of story that, you know, they were just pushed through this system and they were totally used. And the infants that didn't survive didn't get a burial because they weren't seen as human, because it was all part of this business. So the whole, like, when we were going through records, it was like, how do we squeeze all this information into the film? How do we, you know, honor everybody's stories? Like, we applied for the Reality Bites Irish Film Board grant, and it's supposed to be 10 minutes. So we were like, oh, you know, we made a half-hour cut that was like a solid cut that you would totally watch. And we were like, it's not 10 minutes. So we brought it down to about 20. And that was as short as we could go. But like the story is vast. There's so much material that has yet to be brought to light. And
the poor children were dying so fast. To me, it seemed like they just put down any common ailment that was going. So I had to find out how many children died. I came back with a staggering figure of nearly 800.
But just terrific. And again, like I was well read up on this subject matter, and there was so many little tidbits in there that you were like, oh my God. And I think what you did really well was bring the humanity to the individuals, like just hearing their descriptions and the way, like one guy was this farmhand, he was
Peter.
His story, that was
oh, he got me.
He really got me.
And
then
he's playing with his grandkids, and he's the most
so grateful,
gorgeous granddad. Like his grandkids adore him, and then he just tells you this kind of gut-wrenching tale of his own childhood where there was absolutely no love. So you're trying to figure out, how did he become such a loving father and grandfather
that struck me as well,
when he was so deprived in his childhood.
What I love was the juxtaposition of like what they were saying versus what you were seeing. So like you said, just the footage of him playing with the kids, and it's all sweet, but he's telling you like this absolutely horrible story. And there's a few other instances of that where they're narrating something that's not quite what they're talking about, and it makes it that bit more like bittersweet. It's a really nice approach.
And then healing, I suppose, was kind of my goal throughout the filmmaking. So I wanted it to end on a healing note, and obviously there's a lot more healing that has to happen nationally and individually for the survivors. And we've had these, you know, great referendums with repeal and with gay marriage, and I feel like that's a very healing thing that's happened for the country. So that was one of the kind of energies I wanted to bring to the film. So the vigil, I just thought would be a nice way to close the film, because it's everybody coming together in darkness with candles over the site where the infants are buried. And it's a kind of a send-off and an honouring, and, you know, the story is ongoing, so we just had to pick an end point. But it was just a way to see everybody together. It's like the power of the voices of the people coming together. And
it definitely works for this as well, because you're following their lives, and it does, like a film like this, you expect to be just wiped after it, even though it's quite short, but it isn't. You do have that hopeful air of it. And I think we're lucky here to have gone through that and have 2 nice referendums, because other countries around the world aren't doing too.
Yeah, I know. They're
nice
going
with
the
their
other
politics.
direction.
Yeah. And that we're coming kind of, you see there's a bit of a light in a tunnel for us coming out at the end of such horrible stuff, and so systematic. And I think that's it.
It was so systematic. Like, state and church were completely working hand in hand. I mean, again, in the film, we're just tipping on the iceberg there, but the records that Catherine Corliss has brought up are, and the sad thing is, she's handed over her, 6 years of research to the investigation, and then they completely pushed her out. So they haven't allowed her into the investigation in any way, shape or form. She doesn't know what material is being used. Like, it's pretty murky, you know, how it's being run. And I guess they're doing forensic analysis on the bones. So they have like dug up an awful lot of the bodies, which is brilliant. But they're not treating it as a crime scene. As far as I know, and that's really unfortunate because, you know, the children were neglected and it was criminal what happened to them. And Peter, who we brought to New York, he believes his sister is buried in that septic tank. So he's been fighting the courts for the last number of years to try and get access to more of her records so he can verify this. And he simply can't do that. TUSLA just don't give access to those records. So, and that's one of the thousands of stories that people are kind of dealing with.
And then you wonder, there's probably a system there that allowed this to happen and that maybe doesn't want to, you know, have to pay redress for people and have to be responsible for what's there. So it's in certain people's interest, maybe not necessarily to have it be a big story, because it was in a worldwide stage, as you said before. Like, we were visible. It was one of those things where it was like, hang on, Ireland did what? And made it to every country, and completely rightly so, because you're like, hang on, how many babies in a septic tank? And then even the background, like, the more you find out about, the more and more shocking it gets. So would you be tempted to push this into a feature?
I was content.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should, but it's interesting. I think when I was finished with it, it's quite a heavy subject to
I'd
carry
say
around.
you were taking it was taking a toll. It has to.
It's tiring to like kind of have all of that in your mind all the time. So I probably just separated myself without even really thinking about it. But I feel like I think someone else is actually making a feature doc at the moment. I don't know who, but it was mentioned to me. So if they are, that's amazing. And if they're not, maybe with a little bit more time, I will go back. I mean, I still, I'm friends with all the people in my film. So I would still meet up with them and kind of we keep up with each other. And the film is still screening at festivals and events around the world. So that's amazing. So yeah, maybe with a little bit more time, I can go back and revisit it.
Definitely, because again, it's such a big, you could definitely see something like that doing really well on Netflix, because there's so many documentaries that are in a very similar vein. There's, you know,
uncovering big, you know,
systematic and telling big stories and telling the individual human stories within that. Like, I would definitely be clicking on that, and then probably have to take a break from it and go back to it and then get really stressed.
I hope Netflix is listening right now.
Yes, Netflix. Definitely watch that. So of one kind of heavy, big story to another warm, I thought that was really sad. Your gorgeous shorts. So Laura, tell us a little bit about
I don't know, is it that sad, is it?
I don't know.
It ends very warm.
It does
Sorry, my name is Laura O'Shea and I have a short film called Hold the Line that's going to be in the Bleeding Pig Film Festival also, which I'm very excited about. Nice Gals Night on the Tuesday.
Gals Night,
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Women in film. So the short is about a girl in a call centre. Your typical kind of customer care support type scene, and she's going through her own kind of personal things, and it's like a day in the life. And in this instance, it's M's life. And she gets a barrage of callers all day that are just the cliched, you know, rude people. I'm here, you have to listen kind of a thing. And she's kind of at her wit's end because she's got her own stuff going on. And then her last caller of the day is this really sweet woman called Patsy. And they just kind of get chatting, and soon enough the walls kind of come down and Patsy ends up helping M more than M actually helps Patsy, but she doesn't realise what she does, and you're kind of watching it all on M because she's the only actor in it, character in it I should say, so you kind of watch all of it unfold on that character's face while Patsy's on the other end of the line. And yeah, it's bittersweet, but I think it's hopefully more sweet than
Yes.
bitter. Yeah.
Are you still there, love?
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't want you getting all quiet on me now. I'll never get my Billy Fury fix if you don't get my stick working.
Right, Jar, Patsy. Can I just get you to right-click on the icon for the dongle, please?
Right. Yes, there it is. Will I press install?
Do. It'll take a couple of minutes to just let that work away.
That's no problem. If you want, I can hang up and call back in a few minutes if it doesn't work. I know it's late.
No, you're fine, I'll wait. Plus, if you call back, you might get somebody else, so...
Ah, thank you. You're very kind and patient. I'm sure your mother misses you round the house for all these things. Our generation and technology don't mix.
I don't want to give too much away because it's a lovely arc and it's nice and it's surprising.
Thank you.
And you had many hats for this role.
Yeah, it was my first time actually making a short because I've been acting for a couple of years and just making shorts and doing bits and pieces and stuff like that, and I kind of just got a bit withered, not doing things that I was interested in, or being offered parts that I actually thought, oh, this is something for me, or not getting offered the things that I thought were for me, and that kind of cycle that actors go through. So I was just like, right, let's just make something because I'm sitting on my bottom doing nothing else. So so the idea for the call center came fairly quickly because I'd worked in one for a year, so it's not like I'm putting much acting into it. Like, it was a real life for me.
I could tell you had worked in one. I could just tell because it felt so real. And like the stress level and like even the specific things around wait times. I was like, oh, this person knows their stuff when it comes to call
my friends
center.
that worked in the call center with me, I have seen it since, like, a bunch of them, and they're like, oh my God, it was like Vietnam flashbacks. They were just like getting PTSD watching it. Like, they were like, oh, that was too close to the bone. So I decided I'd write something about that because in my head I was like, right, I have no money, I have no experience, I don't really know how to make a film, so how do I make it as small as possible, like in terms of budget and people and locations and actors and everything. So it was as bare bones as I could get a short, realistically, because it's one location and one actor for the whole thing. So now there's other voice actors in it, but they don't appear on screen. So that's kind of where it came from. It was just the lack of everything else, pretty much. So it was written and shot. We shot it like in a day. It was like 9 to 5 on a bank holiday Monday, and it was just all my mates just pulling everyone together, calling in all the favours of all the people I'd worked for over the last couple of years. And everyone kind of just did me a solid and got it made like really reasonably and really quickly. So
you do a great job because the whole film is almost just a close-up. So that's a lot to carry, like, it was 12 minutes.
It was nerve-wracking, and I didn't realise it until the day of, because I was so busy in prior to that, like, trying to get the script right, trying to make sure everybody was like where they should be, and like we had people to do all the jobs, and so it was very much like, it wasn't until I sat down, I turned to Karen, who was co-directing with me, and I was like, I don't know my lines. Like, it was like the morning.
That was like the last thing.
I was like, oh wait, I have to act in this. And she was like, you be grand. You've read it like so many. I was like, do I know my lines? Like, we'll find out. Sure, you can change it if not. Anyway, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, so, you can check with the writer. You'd be like, check.
So I think I didn't put myself under too much pressure because I didn't think about it really until the camera started rolling, and
you do carry the whole thing. Like, there wasn't any moments where I fell out of what was going on.
And thank you.
There's a lot of montage in terms of the sound editing because you're sort of overlapping all these really annoying assholes who are like making demands, and I was sympathizing with them too because I don't know how many times you've called up air and you're like,
we've all been that person.
Worst customer service.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's kind of, but it totally carried all the way through. So all of your moments of defeat or like, oh, not another one, like it's all there. It's very strong.
Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted just for people to see, like, because I've been that person too under the phone where it's like, right, you need to sort this right now, but you don't know what they're going through. Like, they're humans at the end of the day as well. So I just wanted to shed a light on like the other person at the other end of the phone, because they could be going through absolute hell while you're shouting because you can't access your Facebook. Like, you know what I mean? There's really more important things in the world. So it was just to kind of show a side of that kind of thing. And there is a Patsy out there. She came from a real person, it was like,
so
not
sweet.
the exact same conversation, but something very similar did happen while I was there and kind of stuck with me, so
humanizing the whole thing.
Humanizing
it's
the
so
whole thing.
distant.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never connected to anybody.
She was a real person. Like, I mean, My character's backstory was fabricated for the purpose of the drama in the film, but I did have a conversation with an elderly woman that had a person that had passed away in their life, and she was talking about that, and we were on the phone for so long because like that we were fixing her broadband. So I've really, the bottom line is I have no imagination, and it all, and it all came from real life. It was essentially a documentary. Essentially.
But you know, it's a great way to make stuff. Yeah, just like dig into reality.
What you know. Yeah, what you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it came about, and I'm really pleased at how it's turned out, and it's been a fun little year touring around, and it's been good.
It's cool how quick you made it as well. Sorry,
it was a day, because we only had a day.
Yeah.
We shot it in Karen's. I said the co-director. I went to Bow Street with Karen, and she's one of my best mates. So I was like, look, I need someone to like just keep an eye on me on the day because I can't check myself in performance wise. So she was very like, no, you can go again, and then I go again. No, you can go again. And it was just one of those things, and we just got it done really like sharp. But there was no like locations to be moving to and fro from. And
which is a dream.
so like, it was really, in that case, like we couldn't have found it easier. Now the room was 1,000 degrees at the end of the day. Very
light.
hot.
Much like this.
Much like this room.
Yes.
But
very warm studio.
other than that, it was pretty seamless. Yeah, no pickups or anything. We were very lucky. So that was handy. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And visually, did you know what you had in mind when you were going there? Did you leave that to the different
I'll be honest, like I honestly hadn't a clue. Like I really didn't know what I was doing. It was very much like we'll just figure it out as we go. But like that, we didn't have a lot of options because it was such a tight space. It was kind of like, right, well, we'll get it this way, and just get as much coverage as we can, get a couple of cutaways and hope for the best. You know what I mean? But I have a really good editor who did the edit and the grade and the sound mix, and he's one of the people that just kind of, the stuff you think is throwaway, the stuff that you get after cut, he's one of the people that will scrutinise every inch of the footage, and he'll always pull something out. Like there's a kind of a running thing throughout the short where it cuts to her foot tapping and tapping and tapping, and then there's a moment where it cuts back and it's stopped fully. And at that, it's kind of a commentary on her emotional state throughout the whole thing. Yeah. Like that was gotten, I think, like almost by accident. Like, I didn't want that or have it, whatever, but like Phil's one of them people, he's like, oh no, this is something. You know what I mean? So he kind of really pulled the best out of what I get. I kind of wrapped the footage up in a load of sticky tape and threw it at him. He did his best with it. Yeah.
I was going to say there was a lot accomplished with sound in that. Like he really got that emotional stress that kind of when everything's on top of you. I think a lot of people will have had those jobs where just it gets overwhelming. And
he also worked in a call center, Phil. So
there
was a lot of people coming from here.
The real place.
No, he was great. Yeah, I feel like it was kind of like our short and his short as well. You know, so he really put a lot of thought and heart into it.
Because it spans across the whole day. So you've got the clock as that device.
Exactly.
And then there's a lot of montaging visually and with sound.
That's
and
it,
so you get this like, oh, life's so boring, and like there's so much repetition, and but that's all the
monotony
edit
of it. Exactly. Yeah. So he knew the crack because he'd done it himself. And we did shoot it chronologically as well because we didn't actually light it at all. So it was all natural lights. So we're like, it was like, again, like I didn't even think of lights. Like we got there and I was like, oh, we've not to light this, so I guess
it was just you wouldn't
fish
have got
out of water.
It's amazing how good it worked out considering
it's a miracle really.
It really works out.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy enough for that.
And doing the set design and stuff, was that a space that you guys just had access to?
We didn't touch a thing. Like it was like it's Karen's acting agency have an office on Wicklow Street, I think it's Wicklow Street, and they just don't operate on a Sunday. So she was like, say nothing to no one, and we can just get into the office on the Sunday as long as we leave it how we found it. No one's gonna know. Maybe they will now, but
once it starts in the festival
it's sure nothing's broken, it's fine. So all like the binders and the desk, all the chair, the computer, it was all there. Like so, we just kind of shoved it to one side to fit the cameraman in, and that was it. So yeah, it was very just fortunate how it all fell together. It wasn't like much, to be honest, there wasn't much planning put into it.
Is it hard to be part of the edit as an actor?
I love it.
Do you?
I actually love it, I sat in with Phil a few times and I probably wrecked his head because I was really meticulous about it, because I did music technology in college for 5 years, so I have an ear for all that kind of stuff, and I did a little bit of editing in college because it was part of a video module that we did as well, so I feel like I know it all and I really don't. So I'm sitting next to Phil, like, scrutinising things. Not that he needs it, but no, I love it. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
And would you be tempted to produce again now that you...
Yeah, I've just finished a second short with a mate of mine, Tony. He's the first angry caller in the short. So we've written and co-directed something that's premiering in October. But we got mates on to produce. So we did a little bit, but we didn't take the reins because it's just... It was a bigger project as well. I don't think I would have been able for it. Like, I don't think I'd have a hair in my head now, really, at this stage. So
it's a very different hat to have on, I think, especially if you're doing something creative on the day. So when the problem falls and it's like, oh, we don't this, or we ran out of this, or we need batteries or something. And then when it's your problem and you're trying to get into character, it's hard to be like, okay, let's problem solve and then back in the space.
I would avoid if at all possible going forward. Like, writing, acting, even directing is like about as much as you can take on, I think. But the producing is just,
it's like, a whole other headspace.
Oh, it's like, it's a nightmare. So, if at all possible, no. Thanks, though.
You've actually done you've worn a lot of hats on projects before. I was looking at your IMDb and it was like cinematography. And
I know, but that's in the early days when you just sort of, you have to do everything. So you do. And again, I'd be like you. I love editing. I love the creative stuff. So producing, not so much, but like editing, camera work. I love all that stuff. So I would have had like 3 different cameras and I would have done a bit of cinematography for other people's documentaries. And then I decided to just really focus on directing. So I sold all my equipment except for my drone, and I just kind of really stuck myself into like, okay, apply for funding, step it up, like build the company a little bit. And I mean, applying for funding is a huge endeavor.
That's a full-time job.
Oh man, it's massive. And again, the same for submitting to festivals is a lot of time and energy. And just there's certain parts of the process that I couldn't do everything, so I had to just pick a few things. So directing was the main one, and obviously writing, and then the funding, and things like that. So, and
that's when it's really important to get a creative or like a team together that you help them out in their projects and they help you out in yours, because there is a lot of let's work on this project never gets made. Let's put all our time in. Let's put this application together. Budget's done up. No, nothing.
It's about finding like your people or a couple of mates that just want to be doing the same thing or are happy to just give a hand, because it comes back around. Like if you're helping someone out, even making tea, if you're like, oh, here, any chance you can like boom something for me for like a day, it's like, of course, you
also never know what might come out of a collaboration or just being on a shoot. Like I've definitely ended up calling someone a year later that was like, oh my God, this is the perfect person. I'm so glad we accidentally met that one time. So there is that kind of, you have to be very open, and you also have to be ready to grab opportunities whenever they arise. So there is this kind of like, always kind of open-minded, I guess, about who you cross paths with.
Yes. And speaking of lots and lots and lots of organizations, we also have
crossing paths.
We also have Emma here, who's organizing the Bleeding Pig Festival. So first of all, can we get a little bit of a history about the festival?
Yeah, sure. So like what Mia was saying there, crossing paths. It's funny because that's exactly how the festival started for me. So I used to work with the Fingal Film Festival, and we did a road show every year where we'd platform the award-winning films of the festival from that year. And I crossed paths with a lady who was running a festival in Kilmainham, and then she introduced me to a couple who were on the committee of the Bleeding Pig Cultural Festival, which is out in Donabate. So they do all sorts of things. They do music, they do poetry, photography, but they didn't have any film screenings. So when they knew that I was putting together stuff for the Fingal Film Festival, they kind of grabbed me and said, come and bring films to Donabate, please. So that's kind of how it started, on a very small scale, of just an evening of film. And 2 years later now, we have kind of 3 nights of short film and a feature on the 3rd night. So I've been very lucky in that the committee kind of the cultural committee oversee the festival, but I pretty much run it and curate it and do all the stuff, make all the decisions, which is just a joy for me to
and
you're my own little festival.
You're a very good communicator.
Great. Considering it's just you, it's impressive that it's just you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Marketing machine. But there's a lot of spinning plates. I imagine a festival like that is similar to producing. Just a lot of like organizing, managing stuff, liaising, setting stuff up.
I guess well, I suppose for my background, I'm not a creative. I don't have academic or a technical film background at all. So I started working in marketing and I worked in market research. So I was a project manager, really. And I look around me and see people making films and producing films. I see that as project management. So there's definitely a producer in me, I think.
100%.
I feel that that's something for, I'm producing a film at the moment for my friend who's getting married. So a little, personal thing, but it's my first, that's my first little taster of producing a film. So we'll see.
Guaranteed screening.
But,
guaranteed good reception.
You never know.
The head party. But back to the festival. Yeah. So, I just love it. One of the things I like most is that it's a little bit different to your kind of city big festivals where, a large portion of the audience are, they're cast and crew, they're film buffs, in general, they're people know a fair bit about film. So, in Donabate, the first night we had the screening, there was a queue of people coming to speak to me saying, where do we see these short films? They had not seen a short film before. They didn't really know it existed as a format, So I had to explain to them, well, probably you won't see them anywhere unless you stay up till 12 o'clock.
Or get an Aer Lingus flight.
On RT. Now that's great that, so I thought that was just lovely to see their reactions, and they were so engaged and so interested in, independent film. So that's my big thing at the moment, is to just bring the films down there and introduce them to films that they wouldn't normally see, I guess.
And that's lovely as well, because you do, I think, as a filmmaker, tend to go to a lot of festivals. It's all filmmakers, but to see how it actually an audience of people who just want to enjoy it specifically and aren't going, well, actually that would have been expensive and I wonder how they got that location. We're just like, oh, this is a story and I want it to wash over me. It's a different
It is, but curiously what you're saying there about, picking up on is something expensive or the editing or whatever. When we have the Q&As, you'd be surprised at the questions that do come out, so we did screen Mia's film Throwline actually won the Audience Award last year, and they loved it, like they absolutely loved it. But we also had Michael Inside was our closing film. Nice. And we had Frank Berry there. The poor man couldn't get out of the room at the end of the night.
He's the nicest man on the planet. He probably stayed to talk to
everyone. So good. But they had countless questions for him, and interesting, intelligent questions. So,
it's such a good film.
It's
very powerful.
So powerful. So we're absolutely delighted to have him there.
Yeah, so cool.
But, so it's all about the audience for me. It's not stuffy. There's no VIP area. It's just everyone is welcome. The filmmakers sit up at the top of the room, and the audience just join in and chat, and they love it. And most of the filmmakers have said the highlight. That festival was one of the highlights of their run, which is great. And the Q&A was their highlight.
Yeah, that's cool, and it's really. I think important to talk to audience.
Yeah.
Audiences around the world.
Like, that's the point.
Totally.
Like,
because it's sort of, you make this piece of work, you send it out generally on the internet. So it's not even like there's a physical process to sending your work out to the world. And then you're hoping that it'll reach people. So to actually talk to people about their experience is really rewarding and encouraging, and it kind of, motivates you to go and make the next project then.
Without being cheesy, like, it's why you do it. Like, it's
totally.
It is like,
But it lacks that live element, like theatre or, a music or whatever, where you're like, you're with the people and you're with that electric moment. So with cinema, it's like, I love trying to catch the film with the audience, sitting at the back.
Absolutely.
I hate sitting up the front, always at the back, kind of like feelers out, see what the energy of the room is.
It's nice hearing the responses like in the right places too. Like if you're meant to have a little giggle or a little reaction and hearing it, it's like, oh,
or a laugh where you didn't expect one. That's always great.
Because you're so used to hearing it like in silence that when you do get reaction from an audience, you're like, oh, what is that?
Or if you get the
strange.
And actually, that's an interesting thing. Programming, putting together like an actual section that works together as a unit and takes everyone through like an emotional journey. I'd say that's quite difficult.
Oh, that must be so hard.
I'll say one thing, just because I know people ask me a lot, how does the submissions work, because it's still very small and it's just me. I just don't have the time or resources to watch 100 films or 200 films, whatever. submissions. So for the first few years, I've been selecting them myself. So it's curated rather than programmed, I suppose you could say. Yeah. But so next year, I'm hoping there'll be big changes.
Film Freeway or
I won't
one of those.
say too much about that, but yeah, that's all to come. But yeah, even under those circumstances, when there's, you know, maybe 35 films, so for me it would be I'd go to festivals and see what's out there. And there's also a number of films that I would absolutely love myself, but I can probably tell they mightn't go down well with the certain audience that I've come to know, saying Donna Bates. So, you know, I have to make those decisions then what's gonna. So for example, the first year, they were all excellent films, but I did make a mistake in that there was probably 3 or 4 quite dark, serious shorts, which shorts can tend to be quite dark.
More
I think,
often
sometimes.
not, yeah.
You know,
Like,
it can be hard to find the comedies and whatever, but so I think they were a little bit down after that first screening.
Yes, yeah.
But they still enjoyed it, and there was some good films. But I've learned now after that to kind of, you know, just even what comes next, and if, you know, something's
what
quite
comes
serious,
last or first,
you can't
or,
really follow it
yeah.
up with a hilarious comedy, but you have to
Stagger it up.
Move them a little bit away from that. And so it can be difficult.
It's a bit of an Irish thing, isn't it, that we make sad shorts
all the time.
like
there is a lot though,
I don't know,
isn't
is
there?
that because we sort of have to get stuff off our chest,
Yeah,
or like,
or maybe it's the easiest thing to go to was like your scars, like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's right about your
I
own
guess you're more
trauma.
creative,
Yes, or,
is it? Yeah, where
we're a tortured bunch, I suppose. We've enough to be talking about. So I think with comedy shorts always go down like such a breath of fresh air, and when they're done right, you know what I mean. It's always nice to have a nice comedy in a block. It always stands out, I find.
We've got. Yeah, well, I'm lucky this year. We've got a
I've
few,
seen
a few
I know she's
really
not
good
here,
comedies.
but like Casual is one of my favourite shorts I've seen this year on the festival circuit.
Yeah,
and I know that
great.
like she's not here, but you know, it's. Have you seen Casual?
no.
Honestly, like
Argyle,
we were in the same block at Kerry this last October, and I laughed, like I cried laughing at it. Like I did.
Who made it?
Aoife McArdle.
Aoife,
okay, nice.
Yeah,
I can understand why you selected that as well, because it's really funny.
Yeah, I think it'll go down with. I think everyone will. It'll touch everyone.
I think I laughed
like a bit of break up
longer than everybody else in the screening. Like I even found her on Instagram afterwards, and I texted her, I was like, I don't even know you, but you need to know how hard I laughed at your show.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah.
So it sounds like a really interesting lineup. What are even a few lines about the other shorts that are?
So in the Women in Film as well, we have Natasha Wall's mother.
Oh, that's so funny.
The fridges are coming. Have you?
No, that's Jonathan Hughes is the writer on it. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to that.
And Jonathan, I suppose he's becoming a regular. So we're screening Mary as well, which is by Jonathan, directed by Sean O'Connor. And last year we screened Acorn, which he wrote as well, kind of Christmas one about the kids. That went down really well actually last year. So yeah, we've got a good few comedies. Got Mia's film, also we've got Laura's film. We have a great documentary called The Vasectomy Doctor, which is
Ronan Cassidy.
Yeah. So
that's been totally picking up.
I think it's great.
I'm looking forward to
very
that,
illuminating. Have you
very
seen
funny.
it?
Not yet. No, and I've
you'll love
seen
it.
so much about it. Yeah.
And so we're hoping the vasectomy doctor will be joining us on the night. To be confirmed.
Is that Zeb?
Yeah, hopefully.
Is Zeb the doctor, or is Zeb more, or is he a smaller part?
No, well, it's a documentary. So the doctor
I know Zeb is in it.
Zeb plays a guy who tries to shoot him.
Attempted.
So it's like a recreation.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
with you. Sorry, I'm
Reconstruction
Right.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the doctor is quite an interesting, very interesting character.
Oh.
So if he shows up, he'll probably be there for the night
without
escaping. You know. And I guess it's time we can
announce it, because this won't be out beforehand.
Sure. So we are absolutely excited and delighted to have Carmel Winter's Float Like a Butterfly. It's going to screen on our finale night.
Cool.
Excellent.
So that will be.
It's a gorgeous film.
Yes.
Yeah.
I caught it for the first time down in Cork in its home.
Brilliant. Where it premiered.
Where Carmel is from, I think.
Yes.
Down that way.
Yeah. They shot it there as well.
Yeah. So that was an emotional experience seeing that, especially down in Cork. And I'd say the audience Donabate will be
Yes.
Delighted.
similarly affected.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's gorgeous film.
Because it is. It's really
So
lovely. It sounds like
excited
an
about that.
amazing, like an amazing lineup. There, people are in for an absolute treat.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll enjoy it. Yeah.
So you do a great job of keeping lots of women directors, lots of celebrating a
Yay,
lot
good on
of
ya.
female
Yeah.
filmmakers.
Well, what happened was, I think, was the second year, and I just noticed that, you know, I had chosen a lot of films that I really wanted to include, and they were directed by women. And I decided, right, let's just put on a whole night of women in film. I spotted this woman over in the UK. I don't know if you've heard of Film Bath. And the founder of Film Bath came up with the F-rated logo, or
Standard.
you call it standard.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think the IFI use it, and not many places use it actually. So I thought, right, let's start using it and introduce it to people, and they were delighted to have Bleeding Pig on board as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so this year we'll be between like having the feature and the one night will be kind of, you know, 70%
That's
in film.
Wow.
So that's brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
representing.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
So I'm happy with that. And
Class.
that's
And very strong feminist themes in everything. in
Yeah.
everything that I've seen that you're doing.
Yeah, because Float Like
Yeah.
a Butterfly, like she's
Yeah.
ferocious, the lead
yeah.
character,
Oh,
you know?
she's unbelievable.
She
Yeah,
just won't,
yeah.
like, she's just such a fighter at heart, so
Yeah,
she's really
yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
Amazing actress
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah, there is, and again, it's kind of just, I think it's a good thing that it's happening just by accident now. You know, it's not.
Yeah, you're not seeking
I didn't
a
go
quota
out
or
seeking. No,
yeah.
and I really
Yeah.
didn't. I genuinely didn't. I really wanted to show an Irish film. Last year we showed an Irish film as well, but that was one just popped out at me, and because I loved it, but also I knew it was going to go down well with the audience as well. You know.
And so what are the days of the screenings?
So Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, the 9th, 10th and 11th of September. So yeah, and we kick off at 7:30, and the venue is Keeling's Pub in Donabate.
Great, so you can have a pint
Oh,
and watch
yeah.
your short.
Can certainly do.
If you're
yeah.
nervous watching
Yeah.
your own work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and we have a proper screening room set up at the back, so it's you know, it's sound quality is perfect and visuals, but the bar is outside, so you can help yourself to a drink at any stage. Yeah.
And you made the nice
Excellent.
suggestion, if you go early, you can have a little jump in the sea first. And
Oh yeah,
Really earn your
I mean,
pint.
it's a gorgeous it's a gorgeous area out there. So I often go out and go for a run, or you know, have a look at the beach. The beach is beautiful. If I have time, I might tell people where the name of the festival actually comes from. So we don't harm animals in any way. We've had a few messages. We've had a few messages into the Facebook page saying I'm a vegan and I'm not happy with the name of your festival.
Oh dear.
It's like, it's basically the coast of Donabate. There's lots of caves, lots of rocks. There is apparently a very strange formation of rocks in one of the caves. Looks like a pig, apparently. I'm sure that's an exaggeration, but there's a kind of red moss growing on the rocks. And when it rains, they say it looks like blood is dripping down the pig. So there you have it.
Oh, we need a photo of that.
Bleeding pig.
Sounds
Something
amazing.
there.
Yeah.
It's short than that.
Yeah.
That much.
And there's that location scouting now as well when you go down there.
It's a fantastic location, actually. It really is, yeah.
I've never been. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
says
it's
it's so
lovely.
gorgeous. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous anyway, but it would be great to be lucky enough to have a few nice days, you know, around that time.
Yeah.
And how long has the festival been running now? I think you said it before, but
This is the
this
fourth year.
Wow.
It doesn't feel like it, but I guess because we started slow, so I feel like it's only really now starting to build. But next year I really hope it's going to be a few changes.
Brilliant.
You know, we'll see what happens with
It's
that.
exciting.
Excellent. So if you
Yeah.
go this time, you can do the hipster thing and go, well, I saw it before.
Before
and
it got
Oh,
paid.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They won't even
Yeah.
answer my
And it
emails
was
now.
like, yeah.
But and yeah, thanks to all the filmmakers that I've been in contact with, and for keeping in contact with me, and you know, they make my life easier. You know, so they've all been great.
I'm sure everybody's more than happy to be involved.
Thank you.
It's nice to be selected rather than pushing your film on someone and begging them to take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And where can you buy tickets? So do you come on the day? You get them there, or
really it's
online?
just come on the day. We will probably set up an Eventbrite booking system for the third night because it will be more popular. But generally, if you come on time, you'll get a seat, and it's free admission because it's a non-profit festival. So.
Okay, well that's even a bigger pull. So you can save all your money for pints then.
You can get a meal actually in Keeling's pub if you want. They have decided to offer free dessert to everyone.
Lovely.
If they come before the festival and have a meal, they'll get a free dessert. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
And maybe buy a pint for the filmmakers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Guinness is
absolutely.
dessert, right?
Yeah,
Technically,
exactly.
Let's put a flake on it. It's fine.
And where can we get tickets, or where can we see the lineup?
Yeah, all the information is on www.bleedingpigfilmfest.com, and you can find it on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Perfect. We'll definitely put up a link to the website anyway, so people can peruse all the fabulous films that are on, and even the other fun events. So thank you guys so much for coming in to chat to us.
Yeah, cheers.
It was great getting to see the films, and I hope you guys get a totally sold out audience then for this, because it looks like it's going to be a great one. It seems to be getting bigger every year.
Yeah, to be honest, every year we're pretty much sold out. Well, not sold out, but packed out. So I'm hoping and expecting the same this year. Yeah.
So, nice atmosphere. Thanks so much, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks a million. Thanks.